qualitative research data, those text data that you receive from, or the responses that are mostly text data. Okay, you see that in survey forms where some researchers, they have open-ended questions, and the participants write their own views on whatever question that is on the survey form. Okay, those are text data, or it can be from your interview that you collected using a voice recorder, or using a voice app installed on your phone, and you use that app to record the interviews, or from your observation, the data that you collected from observing something for a period of time. So those are mostly text data that we need to use different approach to analyze the data before we analyze them using a data analysis tool. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can clean up the text data and then use AI to organize that data into some sort of category or variable. So in this example here, I'm going to use DeepSeek to show you how to organize the data into categories or variables. Okay, first of all, we'll look at the text data example that I have here. Now, this text data are automatically generated from an online survey using Microsoft Forms. And I have 79 students from students that I taught last year. So they filled in this online survey using Microsoft Forms. And I clean up the spreadsheet by deleting the columns that I don't need in this exercise. So I only left the ID. Now ID represents the number of students that took part in the survey. So there are about 79 of them. That's not the total number of the whole class, but these are the ones that return the surveys, survey forms. Okay, so that's 1 to 79 participants. Okay, on the right column are the responses to this question here. How has Microsoft Teams contributed to your learning experience? So here the participants or the students wrote their own thoughts, how they thought the benefit of using Microsoft Teams in helping them to learn. So they wrote their responses here. Okay. Okay, the thing is we need to sort this text data into some sort of category so that we can code the category and then analyze the data. Okay, so you can do that by simply reading through all this text and all the responses from 1 up to 79. If you find out that some of those participants, they wrote something that is in common, you sort them into some sort of category or team. But this process will take a long time for you. So if you're a busy person, you want to look for a faster way of organizing this one into some sort of category before you analyze the data. Okay. So there are a number of ways you can do that. You can clean in Excel. You can use Excel to leave the data as it is in Excel, and then you can delete the columns that are not required, and then you upload it or upload this one up to a Gen AI tool like DeepSeek or ChatGPT. Or you can copy this one and paste it into a Word document, okay, by selecting all the data, including columns, those two columns there. So column A and B in this example. So copy this one and paste it into Microsoft Word. And then save it and give it a file name. And then you can upload it to your generative AI tool to analyze. Okay. All right. In this example, I use Notepad in Microsoft Word. So you can use whatever app you want in this activity or to do this activity. So I have Notepad here. So I copied those two columns with the IDs from 1 to 79, including the responses of the participants, all the way to the last participant. So on the left, you have the IDs. On the right are the responses. Okay. So you can use one of those, a text editor like Notepad or Microsoft Word or Excel spreadsheet. Okay. So I'm going to open DeepSeek. And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type the prompt that will uh, communicate with the AI to uh, organize my data into, or text data into some sort of categories. Okay. So to speed up the process, I'll just copy the prompt from the Word document here that I typed earlier on. So I'm going to copy prompt 1 and paste it into the prompt box. Okay, here's the prompt. Act as a researcher at the National Research Institute. Okay, this part of the prompt is referred to as the persona or the role that you give to the AI. So the AI will act in that role uh, to make sure that the output it provides meets your needs. Okay, so the persona. Okay, you have to analyze the qualitative data that you collected from the participants involved in your research. Okay, you have to interpret and sort the text data into relevant categories or variables. Provide a list of variables or categories. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is upload my text file, the reference document. So click here. Mm, let's see here. Right. Go to my OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive cloud storage. And look for the file that I need for this activity. Okay. It is the one. So click on it to select, then click on open. Okay, the file is now uploaded to up to DeepSeek. So click on the submit button and see what happens. The DeepSeek is now analyzing and responding to my prompt by sorting the text data into some sort of category. of categories. So one cool thing about DeepSeek is that it gives a detailed explanation of what it is, the step-by-step method that it used to analyze the data or respond to your prompt. Okay. Now you can see DeepSeek responded by sorting all the categories, not sorting all the categories, but going through all the responses from participants, and it came up with these categories or variables. So from 1 all the way down to 15 categories. Okay, and then it gave some information on teams that appeared where the responses can be fitted in those categories. So the 8 main ones here, sorry, not 8, 15 categories. So first one is ease of use and navigation, and then it gives the explanation here. 2, collaboration and group work. 3, accessibility and flexibility. 4, organization and resource management. 5, integration of tools and applications. 6, communication efficiency. 7, learning effectiveness and academic performance. 8, engagement and interactive pitches. 9, skill development, technical digital. 10, financial and resource efficiency. 11, time and task management. 12, adaptation to online digital learning. 18, overall satisfaction and user experience. 14, first time user experience. 15, inclusivity, and connectivity. Okay. Now these categories came from the participants' responses, the text responses. So the AI sift through all those responses and then identified categories that those responses fall under. Okay. So DeepSeek provided the explanation for each category, as you can see. So each category has its own explanation. Okay, the next step is to ask the AI to sort through all the responses from the 79 participants and try to sort them into these 15 categories. So I'll go back to the Word document where I typed the from earlier. Okay, this is from 2. So I'm going to copy from number 2 and then paste it into the from box in DeepSeek. So right click, paste. So I'm using this approach to save time, but you can type it manually yourself. Okay. So the second prompt, analyze the text responses once again and sort the IDs under each category. Move all the IDs into their respective categories for easy analysis. So the AI will go from ID 1 all the way down to ID 2 and analyze their responses, and the AI will sort them into these 15 categories here. Okay. to make the job easier for you. So I'm going to click on the submit button. Okay, you can see that DeepSeek has done a great job. So it zipped through all the text data from ID 1 all the way down to ID number 79. And then it identified the responses from those different IDs and then moved them into correct categories, like IDs 3, 6, 10, 36, 42, 56, 57, 59, 61, 66, 67, 65. They all talk about ease of use and navigation. For number 2 category, we have IDs 4, 5, 8, 18, 27, 30, 37, 43, 51, 54, 58, 62, 63, 69, 79. Their responses fall under collaboration and group work. Now, you'll come across some examples where one ID might appear in more than one category. That is because the responses covers the other category as well. That's why the AI will ship the ID onto the other category. So you'll see that idea appears more than once. Okay. All right. So you can see all the 79 text responses. However, you'll find out that some participants uh, failed to answer the question, so those students will be left out. So when you analyze this type of data, you won't be using the total of number of participants, but how many times the respondents or the participants respond to that particular uh, question. Okay, so you'll find that some participants the data will be missing because they failed to answer the question.